All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I'm Onebar. It is April 1st. It means it is officially draft month. Let's go. Draft month is here. It's here. It's so close. I can smell it. This episode, we're talking about the latest names the Vikings are bringing in for a top 30 visit. We all know that they got the big boy private workouts coming up with some of those top prospects. Also, they do the local one where they bring in some Minnesota boys as well. But these are the names that I've seen as the top 30. If I've missed any, be sure to put them in the comments. This list will only continue to grow. I looked at last year's top 30 just real quick, and Jordan Addison and Mekhi Blackman were two names that were on there. So clearly they love them. They brought them in. So one of these guys could very well be a Minnesota Viking come late April. So I'm just going to go through these guys real quick. Let me know in the comments, any of these guys tickle your fancy. And as always, hit that sub button, 12K by draft day. Hit that sub. Boom, boom, boom. First up, Dillon Johnson, a name that we're all familiar with. Tough runner, nothing overly fancy, but if you want a guy that can carry you the ball 25 to 30 times, this is your man. Anything you read about him, he's not going to wow you with his athleticism, not his speed, but if you need a grinder, I think grinder might have been in every one of his profiles. Dillon Johnson is the guy who can get it. It's not sexy, but it's got teeth, and he will get you those yards. I don't, with the addition of Aaron Jones, I could see us taking a flyer on a running back in round 5 to round 7. Aaron Jones is clearly not a long-term solution. We still got Ty Chandler. So Dillon Johnson, he's a guy that's anywhere from round 4 to like undrafted. This dude is all over the board, and that's kind of par for the course. When you look at running backs, there's always some crazy stuff going on with them in the mid rounds. Eric All, a guy who the Vikings seemed completely enamored with. It's kind of like what could have been with this guy. He had a big year for Michigan in 2021, and then 2022 was supposed to be his coming out party. Injured. 2023 tears his ACL. So Eric All is all about potential, but injuries are a big concern. Late round guy. I don't want the Vikings sniffing around him in like round 5 or anything like that. Too much injury history there, and in a position where, Hawkinson, we don't know when he's going to come back, but go the undrafted road. Christian Boyd. Now, this is a man I love. Big, old, beefy beast. He went to the Shrine Bowl and made pretty much everybody look silly. That's where all of a sudden he just burst onto the scene. He always ripped it up at Northern Iowa, but the Shrine Bowl, this dude, he can go in round 4. Vikings need them some defensive tackles. And as you can see, there's a theme. A lot of defensive tackles on this list, but Christian Boyd is going to be one of those small school dudes who could go to the NFL day 1 and all of a sudden just rip it up. I think he could start damn near day 1 for the Vikings on their defensive line. Castles, the Tennessee tight end, again, a guy, this is like, I got to be honest, I didn't look a ton into him. I read a bunch of profiles and I watched some of his highlights, but at Tennessee, he's always going to get knocked for their gimmicky offense. And the fact that he's kind of a one-trick pony right now, everything's saying he's a limited route tree, but when they throw him the ball, he's a pretty good receiver. But then again, you see just like his knocks are just like he drops the ball. So again, Castles, I think, would be an undrafted free agent type of move where you just, you see what you got. Maybe he's the Nick Muse, the next coming of Nick Muse. Marshawn Kneeland, again, another late rounder, edge rusher from Western Michigan, 4.5 sacks. Read about him, athletic, decent. Again, a guy that would fill the bottom of the depth chart maybe. Kneeland is a guy that, again, you see him drafted in mock drafts, late rounds, or you see his name never. So Marshawn Kneeland, Donovan Jennings, big boy, 6'5", 330 pounds, I think, just ginormous. Played a ton of games at South Florida. They're going to be kicking him into guard. So Jennings, 6th round, 7th round type guy. We know we need help on the offensive line, especially at the guard position. So Donovan Jennings, the fact that he has all those games under his belt and he's just ginormous gets me a little bit excited. Byron Murphy, we all know about him. I'm going to talk about him. The only way we get him is if we don't trade up for a quarterback. He will be most likely the top defensive lineman off the board. Taki Taimani, a guy that I'm falling a little bit in love with. Again, a big boy from Oregon. Run stuffer. I don't even think he had a career sack in college. I could be wrong, but he is just a big boy that just moves people up front. He is not nice. He's not nice offensive lineman. Watching him just grab them and power those guys back, and then watching those linebackers come in after him. Another late round guy, Michael Hall. This dude's been hotter than hell. His name is just flying up the draft charts. And with Hall, it seems to be it's all about his athleticism, his power. It's nothing about his technique. That's his biggest knocks. Like, this dude has all the tools. He's got to put it together with his pass rushing arsenal and his technique. And Michael Hall, if he's there in round 4, which when you're looking at mock drafts, it doesn't seem like he will be, the Vikings could just jump all over this dude. He would be bumped out to that defensive end. And again, like I said about some of these other guys, like Boyd, he could be a day one starter for the Vikings on a defensive line that is extremely thin. So these are the names that are floating around out there that the Vikings are going to be bringing in. Let me know if any of these guys get you excited. And if a guy like Marshawn Nealand wouldn't go in too much detail, or like Castles, you got more info on him, throw it down in the comments. We'll be here hot and heavy all damn week.